We've heard of being targeted online, but this trend is aiming to control kids and is sometimes run by groups, sometimes run by individuals. The FBI says they all have the intent of leading kids to hurt themselves or others, and they say the victims are most often young girls.
Unfortunately, we have cases now in every FBI field office across the country, and that's just what we know about. I speculate that there are many, many thousands more.
We went to the FBI headquarters in Denver to ask Special Agent Ash Thorne more about how they're tracking down people trying to ruin kids and vulnerable adults' lives. Thorne oversees the FBI's domestic terrorism program, and he says this activity is just that, terrorizing.
They are manipulating them and coercing them to commit acts of violence on themselves, to distribute sexually explicit images and videos. And then once the criminal actor has those videos, they will then use that to blackmail the victim even further to continue that activity.
Thorne says one of the groups behind this activity is called 764. They began as an online nihilistic gang that initiates members by asking them to get close with a child, and over time gain their trust, pull them away from their friends and family, and then get them to do things like sending sexually explicit photos, cutting themselves, and in some cases, killing their pets.
That's just one of many names that these individuals associate with. You mentioned the nihilistic ideology, right? It's the belief that life has no purpose. And these people have gravitated towards what originally began as a neo-Nazi and Satanist ideology within 764 is now evolved into this chaos for the sense of chaos, right? It's nihilistic. Life has no purpose. And if life has no purpose, violence is acceptable.
Thorne says there have been cases of children committing suicide at the behest of these so-called gore groups. But he says there are now thousands of individuals who are doing this, contacting kids, mostly girls as young as 10, not just on the dark web, but in chats in the games they play, on social media, and even by email.
What can you do about it?
Well, there's a lot of things we can do about it. Number one is we're training our folks internally on how to handle these problems and identify these types of cases. Secondly, we're working very closely with our federal, state, and local partners on these cases and educating them on what to look for and how to handle these types of cases. We're also reaching out to schools, school resource officers, teachers, and parents so that they can identify any type of indication that someone they know or one of their children or one of their students is being victimized.
But Thorne acknowledges it falls on parents and guardians to not only set up parental controls, but really know who their children are talking to and look for behaviors like withdrawing from normal activities, changes in mood, obsession with being online at certain times to meet their friend, and self-harm. We called a number of school districts and law enforcement in our area, and none say they've had the training on the effects of 764.
It is a tough topic to talk about, but one that we think is important for you to know about. If you believe your child or someone you know could be a victim, the FBI encourages you to reach out to their hotline, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Thorne says even if they've committed crimes at the direction of their abuser, they are victims themselves and need support. And if you or someone you know is considering hurting themselves, call the National Suicide Hotline at 988. Megan Cloherty, News 5.